and I just dropped the book. Hello lovelies, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about my January wrap-up. I'm not gonna lie. January was an awful reading month for me. School was a lot more intense than I thought it was going to be this semester. So I've only read 3 books this month. Yeah. And like that wouldn't be so bad if like the 3 books were on my TBR. But only one of them was on my TBR. The other 2, one I had to read for school and the other was an arc that I needed to read before the end of the month. It is really hot in here. You know what? We're gonna put the hair up because I cannot stand this freaking heat. So the first book I read this month is The Push by Ashley Audrain. That was the arc that I had to read. I'll put a picture here that I got through NetGalley. That I need to read before it was released to write a review for. I did enjoy it, but it was a book that I had to keep putting down due to the fact that my stomach was churning with unease. It was intense. There was a child who was just secretly like awful, and no one believed the mother that she was capable of these things. And so it was just a constant battle between the mother and this child fighting for power over each other, when the child was like only 4, from when the child was born to late childhood is kind of what we got to see. And every chapter had me at the edge of my seat, like not knowing what was going to happen next. Everything was shocking, but I was to the point where I wasn't going to be shocked anymore because like the author was pulling out all the stops to make me go like, what the I put 4 stars on Goodreads, but I would give it a 3.5, so I rounded up. I still hate that Goodreads, you can't leave half stars, which I think is stupid, but that's never going to change, obviously. I don't know, it's hard for me to talk about because I don't want to give away spoilers because it is a thriller. And honestly, some of the stuff that happened in that book was just so horrifying that talking about it just makes me uneasy all over again. So that's a book that I'm going to like throw in the back of my mind and not think about it anymore. A lot of people aren't liking it because they say it reminds them of a book called Baby Teeth, which I've never read. So this was kind of my first time diving into a relationship between a mother and child where the child is not as innocent as a child should be. And it was creepy. It really creeped me out. So yeah, if you've read Baby Teeth, maybe go into it knowing that a lot of people say it's like that. I would recommend it for people who love thriller and for people that don't have a faint heart because my goodness, my heart was pounding reading that book. Actually, it took me like a lot longer to read than I was anticipating because of the fact that it made me so uneasy that I kept having to put it down and take a break and like recollect my thoughts and wait for my heart to go back to its normal heart rate and for me to pick it up again. So that took me about like a week and a half to read, which was longer than a book usually takes me. But yeah, I feel like that's a major reason why I didn't read many books this month is because the books that I did pick up took me quite a bit longer to read than a book usually does, which you'll see in the next couple books that I show you why. So yeah, that is The Push by Ashley Audrain. It's a debut thriller from this author and she killed it in my opinion. I'm excited to see what more this author has to offer in the future. Okay, so the next book I have is Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy. This is the first book that I picked for my TBR at the beginning of the month, so I figured this is the book I would start with, getting into that TBR. 655 pages, okay? I forgot how thick Cassandra Clare books are. Be thick, okay? I will say with this book, I was pleasantly surprised. I know at the beginning of the month I said that this is a book that I have been dreading. which was true because the Bane Chronicles I really did not like. I gave it 2 stars. I found it really boring and daft, and it made me really not like Magnus as much as I did prior. I still love him, don't get me wrong, he's amazing. I hated the fact that the book was making me see Magnus as a boring character when he is far from boring. So I was very much dreading Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy because the Bane Chronicles was the first short story collection I've read in the Shadowverse. And I did not want to feel the same way about Simon because he is a character that I love dearly. But I was very pleasantly surprised, and I gave this book 4 stars. It's hard for me to give 5 stars for short stories because there's always going to be one short story that I didn't like. But I thoroughly enjoyed this. I found each story to be very captivating. I was hooked in every one. I loved how Simon was coming to terms with himself after the ending of City of Heavenly Fire. I'm not going to spoil the ending of City of Heavenly Fire because that's the last book in the Mortal Instruments, although I'm pretty sure that everyone has read the Mortal Instruments series by now. If not, get on that because you're severely missing out. This was a hit, and however, it took me until yesterday, which was the 31st of January, to finish it, but I really enjoyed it. I was seeing how Simon, it was really nice seeing Simon grow and form new relationships with people from both the Shadowhunter and Downworlder world, as well as Mundanes. He was just making friends everywhere, and it was nice to see him becoming more comfortable in his skin because Simon is a character that has always been very insecure in regards to himself and his capabilities. So it was really nice seeing Simon kind of become okay with himself and accept himself in a way that he never really has before, which was very endearing, and I really enjoyed this book, and I'm going to make sure that I pick up a copy to go on my shelves because this book was great. The last book I read for January is called No and Me by Delphine de Vigan. She is an author from Paris who wrote a book set in Paris. I had to read this for English class. I've never heard of it before, but it is centered around a girl named Lou who is in school a couple grades ahead than she should be because she is very, very intelligent. And she has to do a presentation in regards to the problem of homeless people in Paris and the day-to-day problems that homeless people in Paris have to go through just to be able to find a place to sleep at night and eat and just be able to live in general. So to start off her presentation, she meets a girl named No, who is a homeless girl about 18, and she's seen her around the subway station, and they begin to form a relationship as she asks questions for her presentation, and they slowly become friends. And then Lou asks No if she could help her in other ways, and they begin to form a closer bond as Lou tries everything in her power to save No from the life of a homeless woman in Paris as well as herself. It's a very gripping story. I didn't think that I would become as attached to the characters as I did. How do I put this? In my past English classes when I was a kid and in high school, I always had this kind of resentment for the books that was chosen for me because I wasn't able to choose them myself. Because back then I was really obsessed with reading and I liked choosing what I read and not being told what to read. I guess that was just a part of teenage rebellion. I don't know. But anyway, now that I'm older and I had to read this for English class in college, it was different opinions all around. Like, I was excited to read a book that was chosen for me. I was excited to do a project on it, and I threw myself into it, and I wasn't expecting anything. I just wanted to see why our teacher chose this book, and yeah, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 3.75 stars. I'm sorry if you hear my cat. She's really not happy that she's not out here right now. But every time she's out here, she makes a mess of my desk by putting pens all over the floors or stealing my erasers or trying to chew on my computer cords. Because she's still a kitten. She may not look like a kitten, but she is just turned 7 months. So she's like not even a year old yet, so she's still got some spite in her, and she's crazy. But anyway, so I gave this book 3.75 stars, and I was really happy with the book in itself. This book was a lot more intense than I initially thought it was going to be. It deals with alcoholism and homelessness and social issues, as well as special needs, and I just dropped the book. One day I'm going to make it through a video without dropping something. That is my goal on YouTube, okay? That one day I'm going to film a video and I am not going to drop something. When that day happens, I'll be so ecstatic. You'll have no idea. But yes, it was a lot more intense than I thought it was going to be. And there were a few parts where I was confused that about certain subjects that I wish the author would have delved in a little more. I know that the character No was beginning a downward spiral due to a job that she had. But the author didn't delve into any of that at all. She just kind of like said why she was in a downward spiral, but didn't explain to us what happened to make her go from happy and friends with Lou to being just a shell of who she once was, like in a span of chapters. Like, it just happened so quickly, and it was really concerning, and I don't feel like we fully got an answer at the ending. So I wish the ending was a little more conclusive. I wish it gave me more answers, because there are a lot of answers I have at the end of this book as to what happened to certain characters, why did they do the things they did. Like, none of it was explained. So I guess in a way it's brilliant, because it allows you to come up with our own conclusions on these social issues and why these characters did what they did in regards to these social issues. But on the other hand, I was really frustrated with not knowing. So yes, I rate this 3.75 out of 5 stars. Okay, so those are the 3 books I read this month. Now, thank you all for watching. Sorry if this was a little all over the place. And I'm sorry if it bothers you that my shirt matches my background, but like, we aesthetic. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Please send help or coffee. But I'll see you all tomorrow. I hope you guys all had a great reading month. Even though I didn't read much, I did read good books, so that's a plus. And I will see you tomorrow with my February TBR game. Alright, bye lovelies.